Well, hey there, guys. I'm Axel the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, the ZeldaEngine.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. And for this week, we're going to be focusing on A Link Between Worlds because, well, it is about to come out, and for the next month or so, well, longer than a month probably, but you get the idea. It's going to be kind of a big deal, so it makes sense to focus on it a little bit, I think. So our first question comes from Luigi is Watching, who asks, what are you looking forward to most about A Link Between Worlds? I guess there's like two, maybe sort of three, mostly two things for me. Honestly, I'm kind of just looking forward to playing it, I'm looking forward to a lot of that, like, what looks to be very fast-paced, kind of classic feeling, but very fast-paced, smooth transition, action-packed gameplay. It just looks really exciting just playing through the game, and especially I think, like, a lot of the dungeons look very cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing what, like, all those dungeons, what all the bosses are like. It just looks like it's going to be very fun to play. So I guess my answer is I'm looking forward to just playing the game the most. That's a really lame answer, I guess. Like, on top of that, I guess, I'm really excited about the soundtrack. Even though it's a lot of remixes, they're good ones, and a lot of the original songs are neat, too. And I'm really looking forward to that Lorule overworld theme, because it sounds like it's going to be my favorite version of the Dark World theme. So it just sounds like it's going to be a cool soundtrack. I love music in general, so I guess that's a given, but I'm excited about it, so. Be sure to tell me your guys' most anticipated part in the comments, though. Saroa Link asks, do you think Nintendo revealed too much of A Link Between Worlds before its release? Not too much. I mean, it is a lot, and they've certainly shown a lot of the game, but I think at worst, it's really just given us a good idea what the game's going to be like. I feel like I understand the game very well, and I'm going to know what I'm getting into when I play the game. I don't feel like it's gone too far past that, maybe a little bit, but certainly not as much as with Skyward Sword, where basically every area was shown, and every boss, almost. I mean, that was kind of a lot. That was probably too much. But, even with all that information, I did still enjoy Skyward Sword and feel it was fresh. It wasn't like I had the whole experience spoiled for me. But maybe that's just me. So you guys tell me your impressions in the comments. But, like, for me, I still had fun with it. And A Link Between Worlds still looks like it's going to have a lot of fun stuff for me to experience on my own anyway. So I'm still looking forward to it quite a bit. I don't think the information's diminished that. One thing especially is though they've shown a lot of the dungeons, they haven't shown too many bosses, so I'm looking forward to all the boss fights, and even though they've shown some of the dungeons, they've only shown like bits and pieces, so I'm just still looking forward to experiencing the dungeons in full, and not in those little bite-sized clips they show. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the dungeons and stuff. It looks like it's going to be fun to me. Brian Frost LaPlante asks, do you think Lorule is just Detroit with prettier colors? I've actually never been to Detroit. BlueLink121 asks, besides the 9 items found in Ravio's shop, what items do you think will be returning in A Link Between Worlds? Well, they've actually shown a few. Like, you have the lantern. They've shown that. I guess once you get the fire rod, it's moot, but whatever. I believe they've shown the flippers and the Pegasus boots, and there was one other thing. What is it? I don't remember. But bottom line is, I think that there will be some items. I think they'll probably be, even though they've said it's open, I think they're probably still gonna gate certain things. I believe I've said that since the beginning, that there's some chance that the game won't just be this completely open-ended, and it shouldn't necessarily have to be. I think there'll be a few restrictions, and they'll probably gate a lot of those moments where you can't progress because of this or that reason, and just do things in whatever order, by throwing in some items you have to acquire in the overworld, other than the rental items, and they're mostly, I think, going to be items like that, where it's like, I guess the lantern doesn't really count. Either they're like gimped versions like the lantern of the rental items, maybe acquired before the rental stuff happens, or they're going to be like things that represent abilities, like the Pegasus boots, dashing, or the swimming, things like that, that just affect your general mobility around the map. I think things like that. So we might see like the power gloves. I still feel like the Book of Mudora is going to appear again, but I don't really know. So things like that. I don't really have any specifics to offer though. Brian Frost LaPlante asks, do you think that the art style in Link Between Worlds is directed towards a younger audience of gamers? Not especially. I feel like this is something that a lot of people like try to simplify. There's just the kid style intended for kids. And there's just the adult style intended for adults. There's no teenagers, or perhaps better way to put it is, there's no medium style that's just for anyone. That seems to be like the way a lot of people look at it, and I just don't think that's the case. I think honestly, A Link Between Worlds is just trying to mimic the look and feel of the original, and be just a general like appeal to everyone kind of style. Certainly, they did try to like kidify it or cartoonify it when they like changed the art style to that goofier looking Link in the artwork. But I don't think that necessarily trying to appeal to kids specifically. They're just trying to make it feel lighthearted in general. I don't feel like kids are their specific target with that, though. Cameron asks, do you think the Dark Triforce is real or just an idea, like a symbol of devotion and worship? I don't feel like there's gonna be like a dark black Triforce that we acquire in the game. I could be completely wrong about that, but I feel like the logo just indicates Hyrule and Lorule. The symbol might have significance. I feel like it's not gonna be some heavy thing where it's gonna be like, oh, the demise, upside down Triforce has come back, blah 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 blah. I don't think they're gonna like draw some huge connection. But I feel like it's, I think the reason it can't have that connection is because Hilda, who seems to be benevolent, is carrying the symbol. I feel like it's just going to be a symbol of Lorule, maybe of something a little bit further than that, but I think it's just going to generally be a familiar symbol we'll see, kind of like how the Triforce, in addition to its prevalence as an object, is just the crest of the royal family. I feel like it's going to be like that. Juicy J asks, what do you think about that Lorule version of Blind appearing? There's not a lot I can say. I think it's awesome. I thought Blind was a great character in Link's past, and I really liked how he had this he inexplicably had all this backstory to him, even though like he's like the only boss other than Aghanim and Ganon in that game that had like a little story to him or any like real identity at all. And I really liked him. I thought he was a cool demon guy. That boss, the new boss, looks really cool. Whether it's just Blind or someone who just looks like Blind, I don't know, but it looks really fun. I really like how the boss fight actually looks. It looks pretty cool. XX Rain X asks, hey, what do you think the relation is between Ghirahim, Ganon, and the new antagonist from A Link Between Worlds? I noticed he has Ghirahim's earrings and pretty much the same face. Maybe this game could involve the anti-Master Sword somehow? Well, the new villain is named Yuga, and I don't feel like they've just deceptively renamed Ghirahim. I don't think he's Ghirahim. And I also don't think Ghirahim would switch from using himself as a weapon to being a magician. They're certainly very similar. I feel like they're probably, more than anything, they're just trying to do the same kind of villain again because he was successful, people liked him, and they liked the idea, or something like that. He certainly has a lot of similarities, and maybe he has some, like, Dark Tribe, Demon Tribe affiliation of some kind. Have to throw that out there because you know me, but like maybe they'll do something like that, but otherwise I don't think there's any particular relation. All we know is that Yuga is trying to revive Ganon, and that's about all there is to say about it. I don't feel like there's gonna be much more to it. Unfortunately, it seems to be the Nintendo thing to do, to just have all these potential connections, and they're coincidental. Caleb Estes asks, what is your opinion on Ganon returning? Part of me feels it's like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity, because like I did an article a while back speculating on the potential villain of Link Between Worlds, and one of my favorite examples of something I think could happen is something like the Nightmare from Link's Awakening coming back, and what we didn't know was called Lorule then. It was just like the Dark World corrupted by Link, the last person who was on the Triforce, because the Nightmare followed him or corrupted his mind or something like that. So there's like a lot of cool things they could have done, and I think doing like another game connected to that world and it's just Ganon again as the villain seems a little silly, but it looks like they're going to be doing a really cool demon revival of the Dark King kind of thing. And granted, that's a bit of a cliche concept, but it's a cool one, and it feels like they're going to be doing it in a good way in this game. So, you know, it does look like they're going to do it quite exciting and awesomely, so no particular complaints. It just feels like they could have done something a little more interesting, but they just chose not to. Lord Death asks, in one of the videos, Yuga is seen turning Ceres into a painting. When he picks the painting up, he says, as I suspected, you're even lovelier as a painting, blah blah blah. I think that Her Grace will be most pleased. Obviously, Her Grace is what Impa called Zelda in Skyward Sword, referring to the goddess Hylia. In the last mailbag, you said Yuga's mission is to revive Ganon. While this is still probably true, could he be working for someone else more directly? Furthermore, what does this say about Hilda and possibly the existence of an evil goddess, Lolia? I love that name. Just plays great on the Lorule pun in general. I don't think Hilda is evil in any way, if that's what you're implying. I mean, they basically said on the Link Between Worlds official website that she's a ruler caught in Yuga's scheme. I feel like Yuga is going to be like Lorule's Aghanim. I feel like he is going to actually be corrupting or using the monarchy. And I feel like in sort of like the way that Zelda was under Aghanim's thumb in a way. I think that like Yuga is going to be controlling or manipulating Hilda. And I feel like if that's the case, he might simply be referring to her, but in just kind of lying through his teeth. If he could be referring to something else, and maybe she's just going to turn out to be evil, and she's going to only pretend to be an ally in the early game. But I don't really expect some kind of dark goddess, and I think he is kind of just working directly for Ganon, so that's my only speculation I can offer on that matter. Certainly, his wording there was really interesting, and I'm kind of curious to see what that does actually mean in the game in general. Alright guys, that's it for this time. Be sure to send your questions to the contact information in the description, and there may not be a mailbag next week. I'm not too sure yet, because, you know, it'll be the day before Link Between Worlds comes out, and doing pre-release speculation on Link Between Worlds is going to be hella awkward, but, like, we'll see what happens, I guess. And I'll see you guys later. Where all the fast-paced gameplay is going to be, so. Cameron...